Minority influence occurs when a small number of individuals have the ability to influence the thoughts, opinions, and behaviors of others. Our textbook makes an important note about how minority influence can benefit society. Understanding minority influence helps scientists better understand how individuals are swayed and influenced to conform in society, especially in ways that are not dramatically obvious. One of minority influence's strongest impacts on humanity is its ability to bring about novel ideas and entirely new ways of thinking. In one study, it was found that participants who were exposed to a minority viewpoint, even if it was incorrect, were more likely to find correct and more novel solutions than participants exposed to a majority viewpoint. Results from another study showed the source of influence making a difference as well. While majority influence is more obvious and prevalent, minority influence supports a more cutting-edge way of thinking. In another study, it was found that minority influence from an in-group was stronger than minority influence from an out-group, suggesting that people might be more receptive to a minority viewpoint if the minority occurs within their own social setting. It's easier to empathize with similar individuals than it is with dissimilar individuals. Some findings have supported the idea of minority influence being able to create conformity in a majority group only if it's displayed consistently. Lastly, another study found that when groups see their own original behavior as a failure, minorities are more likely to have a significant influence. Building on prior research, their study found evidence to support the power of novel ways of thinking, especially in times of desperation for a more ideal solution. In a study conducted by Choi using an air surveillance simulation task, participants were divided into teams of 3, one randomly chosen leader and 2 subordinates. Subordinates were taught to assign a danger level from 1 to 3 to a specific plane characteristics such as speed, altitude, and direction. Leaders then used a formula to calculate an overall threat level to be entered into the computer. For each shift, teams would be scored from 1 to 100 based on the leader's accuracy. A score of 75 or higher signified a good performance. Half of the teams could choose one of the 2 monitoring strategies presented, while the rest of the teams were randomly assigned to one of the 2 strategies without a choice. After completing their first shifts, the teams were told their scores. Half of the teams scored 65, while the other half scored 85. Participants then filled out a survey to determine their own perceptions of their team's performances. For their second shift, the teams were told that they'd each earn $3 if they scored above a 75. They were also told that a new person, a Confederate, would replace one of the old subordinates. The new subordinates then suggested a new team strategy and left it to the old subordinate and the leader to decide which strategy to use for the second shift. After completing the second shift using their chosen strategies, all teams were told that they earned $3. Results showed that minority influence was significant based on the proportion of teams that adopted the new subordinate strategy, especially when the teams had no choice in their original strategy and when they perceived their original strategy as a failure.
Hello, I'm the new game designer here, and I'm on your team.
We need to come up with a new game today or we're all going to get fired. And remember, no iPhone games. We haven't made games for mobile phones and we're not going to start now.
We've been at this for hours and we haven't come up with any good ideas. This is hopeless.
I have an idea, but they said no iPhone games. Should I share it anyways? The others have barely acknowledged me. They probably wouldn't even listen to me. Oh well, here goes nothing.
I have an idea.
Oh God.
I think that we should make a game where the player launches animals at other animals. And it would be for iPhone, but I don't think that making games for iPhone is a bad idea.
Fine, let's go with that.
What if the animals the player launched are birds, and there would be several different types of birds with each different powers?
That actually sounds pretty good. And the animals could be pigs, and they could build forts to protect themselves.
We're gonna need a montage. Ooh, it takes a montage.
We did it, and it's all thanks to you.
As demonstrated in the previous scene, minority influence can often be a positive thing. The newcomer, who was originally hesitant about sharing their idea, successfully influenced the group and produced divergent thinking as the group added ideas to the initial suggestion. The group accepted the idea for a video game that they would never have thought of without the influence of the minority party, and as a result created a highly successful game.